Welcome back to this space. Have you ever wondered about the lesser-known stories behind some of the most influential figures in the Bible? Today, we will explore the intriguing legacy of Ishmael, Abraham's firstborn, father of 12 powerful tribes and ancestor of a vast and diverse people. Who were these tribes? Where can we find their descendants today? And what is the spiritual significance of Ishmael's life in our lives? In this video, we will unravel these questions, analyzing ancient prophecies, historical evidence, and the profound impact that Ishmael's descendants have had throughout the centuries. From the vibrant trade routes of the Arabian Peninsula to spiritual teachings that still endure today, this journey through history promises to be fascinating. So don't miss it and stay with us until the end. We will reveal surprising connections between the past and the present that will make you think. If you enjoy discovering lesser-known aspects of the Bible and delving deeper into the knowledge of God's Word, be sure to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss a thing. Leave us your comments with your thoughts. We'd love to read them. Also, share this video with your friends and family so they too can be enriched by these truths. Now let's begin this extraordinary journey into Ishmael's legacy. The first step in this journey is to understand Ishmael's origin and the promise God made about his life. Ishmael was Abraham's first son, born to Hagar, Sarah's Egyptian servant. This event is recorded in Genesis chapter 16. And Hagar bore Abraham a son, and Abraham called the name of the son whom Hagar bore him Ishmael. To fully understand the significance of Ishmael's birth, we must examine the context of the situation. Abraham and Sarah had received a divine promise of a son through whom God's covenant would be established. However, as the years passed and Sarah's persistent barrenness continued, she became desperate. In Genesis chapter 16, verses 1 and 2, Sarah proposed an alternative solution to Abraham. Now Abram's wife Sarai had borne him no children, and she had a maidservant, an Egyptian, whose name was Hagar. Then Sarai said to Abram, "Now the Lord has made me childless. Now please go in to my maidservant, so that perhaps I may have children by her." And Abram listened to Sarai's request. This arrangement resulted in the birth of Ishmael, but it also sowed discord in the home. From the moment Hagar became pregnant, the relationship between her and Sarah became strained, leading Hagar to flee into the wilderness. In the wilderness, a moment of divine intervention occurred that marked Ishmael's future. An angel of the Lord appeared to Hagar at a spring of water, comforting her and delivering a promise that would define her son's life. Genesis 16:11-12 reads, "The angel of the Lord said to her, 'Behold, you are with child and will bear a son, and you shall call his name Ishmael, for the Lord has heard your affliction. He will be a fierce man, his hand will be against everyone, and everyone's hand against him, and he will dwell in the presence of all his brothers.'" The name Ishmael means God listens, highlighting God's attentiveness to Hagar's suffering and his willingness to intervene on behalf of her and her son. This prophecy sets up a dichotomy in Ishmael's destiny. On the one hand, he is blessed with survival and prominence. On the other, his life would be marked by conflict. This dualism anticipates the crucial role he and his descendants would play in history. Later in Genesis chapter 17, God reaffirms his covenant with Abraham by announcing the birth of Isaac, Sarah's son. However, God does not leave Ishmael aside. In verse 20 of the same chapter, God tells Abraham, "As for Ishmael, I have heard you. Behold, I will bless him and make him fruitful and multiply him exceedingly. He shall beget 12 princes, and I will make him into a great nation." This verse highlights the importance of Ishmael in God's plans. Although he was not the son through whom God's covenant would be established, Ishmael did receive a significant blessing. This included not only the promise of survival, but also of greatness and prosperity. Finally, we see God's care for Ishmael once again in Genesis chapter 21. After the birth of Isaac, tensions between Sarah and Hagar increased, and Hagar and Ishmael were sent into the wilderness. In a moment of desperation, when Hagar feared for her son's life, God intervened again. God opened her eyes, and she saw a spring of water, and she went and filled the skin with water and gave the lad a drink. And God was with the lad, and he grew up and lived in the wilderness and became an archer. Genesis 21:19-20. This account not only underscores divine provision, but also marks the beginning of Ishmael's life as a leader of a great nation, fulfilling God's promise. His story is a testament to the power of divine intervention and the importance of each life within God's plan. Now that we understand the context of his birth, let's move on to explore who the 12 tribes were that descended from Ishmael. Let's go. Let's delve deeper into Ishmael's fascinating legacy through his 12 sons, who gave rise to tribes that marked the history and culture of the Arabian region. Genesis 25 recounts the fulfillment of the divine promise to Abraham and Hagar by listing the descendants of Ishmael. These are the names of Ishmael's sons, by name according to their generations. Ishmael's firstborn, Nebaioth, then Kedar, Adbeel, Mibsam, Mizma, Dumah, Massa, Hadad, Tema, Jetur, Na, Vish, and Kedema. Each of these names represents tribes that played important roles, not only in the development of the Arabian Peninsula, but also in biblical narrative and world history. Nebaioth, the firstborn, Nebaioth, is frequently associated with the Nabateans, an Arabian civilization known for their prosperous city of Petra in present-day Jordan. Isaiah mentions Nebaioth in a context of future worship. All the flocks of Kedar will be gathered together for you. Rams of Nebaioth will be served to you. Isaiah 67. This verse not only suggests the pastoral wealth of their offspring, but also their involvement in the economy of the region. Cedar, one of the most prominent tribes, is mentioned repeatedly in the Bible. The descendants of Kedar were known for their archery prowess and their nomadic life in the Arabian deserts. Isaiah 21:16-17 highlights their military strength. Within a year, all the glory of Kedar will be destroyed, and the mighty men of Kedar will be few. This underlines their relevance in the peninsula as an influential and strategic group. Adbeel, Mibsam, and Mizma. These tribes, although less documented in historical texts, played significant roles in the trade and economy of northern Arabia. They were likely involved in the trade routes that connected Arabia with other regions, ensuring the economic vitality of the region. Duma, another prominent tribe, appears in prophetic contexts. Isaiah 21:11 mentions a voice of Seir associated with Duma, suggesting its strategic location near Edom. This region may have been key to intertribal trade and communications. Tema. The descendants of Tema settled in a prominent oasis on the Arabian Peninsula. Tema is mentioned in Isaiah 21:14 as a place that provided water and sustenance to travelers. The inhabitants of the land of Tema brought water to the thirsty. This passage highlights the importance of Tema as a center of trade and hospitality in the desert. Jetur, Naphish, and Kedema. These three tribes are described in 1 Chronicles 5:18-19 as warlike, involved in conflicts with other Israelite tribes. Their strength and military skill underscore their ability to defend and expand their territories in the region. Massa, located in northern Arabia, may have played a vital role in cultural and commercial exchange. Its strategic location would have allowed them to interact with other peoples, strengthening connections between tribes. Hadad, also spelled Hadar, shares his name with important figures from Edom. Although details about this tribe are sparse, they likely lived near other Ishmaelite tribes, contributing to the rich cultural diversity of the region. Who are the descendants of Ishmael today? Identifying the modern descendants of the 12 tribes of Ishmael is a complex task due to the passage of time, migrations, and the mixing of cultures. However, it is widely accepted that the Arab peoples, especially those of the Arabian Peninsula, are the direct heirs of this lineage. Genesis 25:18 states, And they dwelt from Havilah even unto Shur, which is before Egypt, as ye go toward Assyria. This region corresponds to what we know today as the Arabian Peninsula, an area deeply influenced by the cultural and spiritual identity of Ishmael. Let us now move on to explore the spiritual and cultural implications of this legacy in today's world. Let us continue. The legacy of Ishmael and his descendants is a fascinating narrative that has flourished for millennia, leaving a deep mark on the history and culture of the region. Genesis chapter 37 verses 25 to 28 highlights the Ishmaelites as key traders. And they sat down to eat bread, and they came to the land of Ishmael, and there they sat down to eat bread. They lifted up their eyes and looked, and behold, a company of Ishmaelites had come from Gilead, with camels carrying spices, balm, and myrrh, and were on their way to Egypt. Then Judah said to his brothers, "What will we gain by killing our brother and covering up his blood? Come, let us sell him to the Ishmaelites." And his brothers agreed. This passage not only reflects their role in long-distance trade, but also their influence on trade routes that connected diverse regions and cultures. The Ishmaelites' trade extended far beyond their immediate borders, encompassing a vital role in the exchange of goods and culture between the East and the West. They pioneered the transport of valuable products such as spices, balm, and incense, establishing connections that influenced economies and cultures in neighboring territories. These tribes became essential players in the expansion of the economy of the Arabian Peninsula, becoming precursors of Arab civilization. Many Arab genealogies trace their lineage back to Ishmael, and the term sons of Ishmael has historically become a symbol of pride and identity for Arab peoples, particularly those with roots in the vast desert regions. Among the groups associated with the descendants of Ishmael are the Bedouin, nomadic communities who have roamed the deserts of Saudi Arabia, Jordan, Syria, and other regions of the Middle East. The Bedouin are renowned for their resilience and strong cultural tradition, reflecting the characteristics attributed to Ishmael in Genesis 16:12. "He shall be a mighty man, his hand shall be against every man, and every man's hand against him, and he shall dwell before all his brothers." This description highlights the independence and resilience that have defined the Bedouin way of life over the centuries. The connection between the Bedouin and the descendants of Ishmael is not limited to cultural characteristics. Oral traditions have passed down through generations tales of lineage linking these tribes to the sons of Ishmael. Their way of life, deeply rooted in the desert, and their ability to survive in harsh conditions evoke biblical prophecies about Ishmael and his descendants. Although specific genealogical traces are difficult to establish after millennia of migration and cultural mixing, cultural and historical continuities within these tribes suggest a strong connection to Ishmael's lineage. Beyond the Bedouin, the Arab world as a whole is deeply influenced by Ishmael's legacy. From the Arabian Peninsula to North Africa, Arab identity has roots in Ishmael's descent. The language, customs, and social structures that emerge from these tribes have become the foundation of modern Arab civilization. The spread of Islam reinforced these connections, integrating many peoples into a shared cultural and religious identity that finds its origin in Ishmael. Interestingly, the Bible also mentions the future influence of Ishmael's descendants on the spiritual and economic life of the region. Isaiah 60:6-7 describes a prophecy of future glory that includes Ishmael's descendants. "A multitude of camels will cover you, the dromedaries of Midian and Ephah. All those from Sheba will come, bringing gold and incense, and they will proclaim the praises of the Lord. All the cattle of Kedar will be gathered to you. The rams of Nebaioth will serve you. They will come up with pleasure upon my altar, and I will glorify the house of my glory." This passage highlights their continued role in the economic prosperity and spirituality of the region. Despite these connections, tracing the exact lineage of modern peoples back to the tribes of Ishmael is a significant challenge. Millennia of migrations, intermarriage, and the lack of detailed historical records make it difficult to establish clear genealogical lines. However, the religious and cultural traditions that persist in the Arab world offer strong evidence that many of these people consider themselves heirs to Ishmael's legacy. The enduring respect for Ishmael's name, his role as a patriarch in Islamic tradition, and the continued references to his descendants in history support this belief. Ishmael's legacy not only encompasses the spiritual, but has also had a profound impact on the cultural, commercial, and political formation of the Arabian Peninsula. The 12 tribes of Ishmael played a crucial role in shaping the ancient world, influencing the development of the early Arab nations and the complex dynamics of the Middle East. Their contribution to the trade of spices, balms, and incense connected civilizations and strengthened economic networks that endure in the annals of history. The legacy of Ishmael and his descendants is profound, with an influence that extends from the ancient world to the present day. Their impact is evident not only in history and culture, but also in the military and spiritual dynamics that defined the Middle East region. In Genesis chapter 37, verses 25 to 28, the Ishmaelites are described as prominent traders, and they lifted up their eyes and looked, and behold, a company of Ishmaelites came from Gilead, with their camels bearing spices, balm, and myrrh, going to carry it down to Egypt. This passage illustrates their role in the trade routes that connected civilizations such as Egypt and Mesopotamia, facilitating the exchange of goods, ideas, and technologies that shaped the culture of the region. In addition to being traders, Ishmael's descendants were warriors. The tribe of Kedar, one of the most prominent, is mentioned in Isaiah chapter 21, verses 16 to 17. For thus said the Lord to me, within a year all the glory of Kedar will be destroyed, and the mighty men of Kedar will be few. Indeed, this text not only highlights the military prowess of the tribe, famous for its archers, but also its political and economic prominence. The eventual fall of Kedar reflects the shifting power dynamics of the ancient world, where even the most influential groups were not immune to decline. Other tribes, such as Jeter and Naphish, also played a crucial role in the military conflicts of the region. Their participation in battles against the Israelites is described in 1 Chronicles chapter 5, verses 18 to 19. The sons of Reuben, the Gadites, and the half-tribe of Manasseh made war against the Hagrites, Jetur, Naphish, and Nodab. These accounts underscore the ability of Ishmael's descendants to engage in large-scale warfare, shaping the course of events in the region. In the spiritual realm, Ishmael figures prominently in both biblical and Islamic tradition. In Christianity, the Apostle Paul uses the story of Ishmael and Isaac as an allegory in Galatians chapter 4, verses 22 to 31, to contrast the old and new covenants. In Islam, Ishmael is regarded as a patriarch and prophet, revered as the ancestor of the Arabs. According to Islamic tradition, Ishmael and Abraham built the Kaaba in Mecca, cementing Ishmael's place in the religious heritage of the region. The legacy of Ishmael's 12 tribes is also evident in the formation of the early Arab nations. These tribes contributed significantly to the development of the language, culture, and social structures of the Arabian Peninsula. Their genealogies and historical accounts cement Ishmael as a central figure in Arab identity. Through trade, conflict, and cultural exchange, Ishmael's descendants helped form the foundation of the Arab world, a region known for its cultural richness and strategic importance. The impact of Ishmael and his descendants is not limited to the past. In the modern world, their influence resonates in the cultural traditions, religious beliefs, and shared heritage of the peoples of the Middle East and North Africa. The tribes of Ishmael fulfilled the promise made to Hagar, leaving a legacy that has endured across millennia. The phrase, "children of Ishmael," continues to be a symbol of identity and pride in the Arab world. In conclusion, the 12 tribes of Ishmael played a pivotal role in biblical history and the shaping of the Middle East. Their cultural, commercial, and spiritual legacy lives on in modern regions, reminding us of God's promises and the resilience of a lineage that has influenced humanity for generations. If this video helped you better understand Ishmael's legacy, we invite you to like it, share it with others, and subscribe to our channel for more biblical content. Let's continue learning and exploring together. Thank you for joining us, and God bless you.